Hey everybody, it's Corey from Thought Soldiers. Sorry for the weird angle. This is very strange because the only place I can really do a video is on my bed in my room, and I'm like the camera, the phone is like down on my laptop, and I'm like above the camera looking down, and it's a very weird angle, but it's okay. We got to work with it. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about how the empath can armor themselves against vicarious trauma and secondhand trauma when you step into the lightworker role. So there's three kinds of trauma that we can face, which is our firsthand trauma, which is an experience we deal with firsthand, and thus can end up reliving and replaying that trauma over and over in cycles, especially if it's embedded in our subconscious and we haven't released it. It can manifest out into our reality if we haven't fully healed it. But then there's also secondhand trauma and vicarious trauma. And secondhand trauma is reliving a traumatic experience that another individual went through. And if they're processing that with you, especially if you're someone who holds space while other people, purge and release. If you work as a caregiver or a counselor, secondhand trauma is very key. And there's vicarious trauma, which is exposure to emotional residue that will happen as someone is discussing their own trauma. And the vicarious trauma too can happen when we see devastation happening in the media, things like news, stuff like this. And this is something that was really hard to deal with when I started to wake up. And I actually completely shut off the news completely. About 2 years ago, I completely shut off media of all forms. I stopped watching television, stopped watching the news, because a lot of that fear mongering and a lot of that, the pain and the turmoil keeps us trapped in the third density. And when we are trying to get out of the third density to hop into where we're at now and where we're arriving to or wobbling back and forth to, it's important to be armored against the vicarious trauma, because as long as we heal the firsthand trauma, those experiences, those patterns and those cycles that we signed up for at a soul level in order to grow and to expand and to get to the level of where we're at right now in this awakening, in this ascension process, that's one thing. But what can happen, especially if you are in what I would call the martyrdom empath role, we can start to take on other people's stuff as we let it enter our field, especially when it's being purged and released, or if we have energies that attach to us, and if you're especially in that very what I'd call the front line of the lightworker mission and the way showing, which is to be there at the front lines when people are experiencing and reliving these things and letting them pop to the surface. So I want to give some tips on what to do towards helping yourself not to let these energies attach to your field and thus have them kind of creep in and start to manifest in your reality. So first big thing is clearing. How do we clear? Well, you can do simple tools such as sage, palo santo, frankincense, myrrh. There's other smudging techniques that you can use in order to clear your field, which have been vital for me in strengthening my field and learning how to clear in other ways as well. Another way too is feathers. So I have a feather, and I'll actually wave the feather and command clearing. I just say I command clearing, and kind of wave this feather around my field and let it clear. As we start to evolve in our working with our energy, we can start to recognize that we can tie a command to we could create a symbolism for a command, essentially. So you could say I command clearing, and let your energy do its thing, calling upon guides, angels, high vibration beings of light, whatever you choose to call in that is your comfort zone of what you work with spirit wise. Ask them to come down and to clear your field helps as well. So clearing your field is key. We can also do something I like to do, another command, which is staging a motion or a sound as a form of clearing. So clapping's been a big one. The way that I tuned in my clapping to clear my field was, you can either clap over your head, clap over your heart, and I'd say I command clearing, and I would clap. And basically that command tied with the sound now has already set in stone the translation that when I clap, I clear. And it's actually really neat to do because you can do other things that are a little bit less subtle. Like, so when I'm sorry, more subtle, because when I'm at work, for instance, if I'm just sitting there and I feel density coming around, or, someone's releasing something in front of me, if I if I clap, it's going to be pretty strange and it'll probably startle a lot of people. I've actually done some light language videos where I start clapping really loud to kind of jolt, clearing, or to trigger a trigger. And there's subtle ways you can do it. So you can do clicking, any sort of motion to tying to it. I prefer the sound because that frequency. I have a certain clap that I do, and that frequency is always pretty much the same or pretty much aligned. So when I tie it into that frequency and I exert that frequency from the palms of my hands, it's commanding my guides to clear. So that's been a very key one in clearing my field when I notice things creeping in, so I don't let this vicarious trauma or secondhand trauma start to play out into my reality. Another key thing is simple thing like a salt bath. Commanding clearing when you're taking a shower every morning. So me, every morning when I take a shower, I can't, so I don't have a drain to be able to take a bath. So I'll actually get a loofah, and after I'm done washing my body, I have some Himalayan sea salt that I'll rub over, just get a palmful of it, and I rub it all over my body, head to toe, and I sit there, and I sit there and I chant in my head. I don't chant out loud, but I'll chant a clearing prayer, ask Archangel Michael to come down to clear my field and to cleanse. Imagine him come down with the sword of light and the blue flame to help kind of extinguish these energies. That's a key thing, especially if at night we are doing our work in dream state. It's good in the morning time to clear our field of that stuff. So clearing your field is a big one. Second thing too is commanding your presence and commanding your energy. And so I'm going into a little bit more esoteric, heady topics when it talks about energy. And me being an energy worker, being a Reiki healer, and the modalities that I've stepped into, I've learned and I'm still evolving how to work with my energy field. And so the big one is commanding my space, which is that I noticed for a while, especially having the role of the martyr empath, which is to give this energy and this life force to other individuals, free willingly, unconsciously doing it, and then having those drain points. What I did was I for a very long time, well, not a very long time, recently, for the past about month, I decided to slim my plate, trim the fat of so many people that I was energetically interacting with. And since I am an energy worker, I learned to work with my energy. So I was giving myself Reiki. I was strengthening my field by cutting cords and being aware of. So the way that I was able to do this, was by simply learning to discern what was healthy for me and not. And it wasn't so much sensing my energy in some kind of woo-woo sense, but more in a simple term is, have you ever engaged with someone where you just walk away and you don't feel good? Or like you're very much so in kind of like that heart-spaced, lovey-dovey, high vibe state, and then you interact with someone and they say something and you get all up in your head. That to me is knowing that something is out of alignment vibrationally with you and that individual. And there are days where we fall in and out of alignment with one another. I have it happen all the time where some days, I'm getting along with family, some days I'm not, some days me and my partner are clicking perfectly, and other days we're not. It's okay. It's part of the experience. But I'm talking about those people that, for some reason, you walk away and you don't feel so good. That's a good way of knowing that someone is just not an energetic match of where you're at. And I learned that, and this is my partner that had taught me this, is that when it comes to our energy, now, when people enter our field, you either vibrate. For me, I had to command my space by saying you're either vibrating up or you're vibrating out. So it means that you're either going to come up to meet me where I'm at, or you're going to vibrate out. And it's because, part of this journey is to bring people up with compassion and love and light. But some people just don't want to come up. Okay. And what happens is we can end up trying to pull up so many people and anchor them into the new reality that it could be to our own detriment. And then we fall back into this state where we have to let go at some point in time and know that they're going to come in their time. And it's hard to do. But I learned that to shorten my interactions with those individuals, to not give them so much of my time, and to not give them so much of my emotional energy too. So we're not just talking about the esoteric, our aura and our field and the energy we feel, but it can tie into the amount of emotional energy we put into it, the amount of physical energy we put into it, and that's setting healthy boundaries. And that's been a key thing, because now I save that space and that energy for those that really want to step over that threshold, to come over and to come to the other side as we are anchoring in this new. And so just being more mindful of those interactions. And if there is an interaction where you just walk away and you don't feel right, or your emotion gets strained, or you actually feel a physical exhaustion, is stepping out of it and clearing, commanding the clearing, and then calling your energy back to you. That's something I mentioned in a video a while ago. And that's just, I put my hand over my heart and I just say, you know what, I honor the ability to be able to share my energy with so many individuals, but I command my energy back to me now. Thank you so much, universe and God, whatever you believe in, God, universe, source, whatever name you want to put on it. We're just talking about energy here. Calling that back, honoring it, saying thank you with gratitude that you get this opportunity to be able to share this experience, and then command it all come back to you. Now, the first couple of times you do this, I've had a few friends try this. This didn't happen with me so much, but a few friends tried it. And what happened was all their energy came back at once, and they were like, ah! It's like they were doped up or something, or they had drank too much caffeine. You can, at the end of the night, command space for your dream state to be for healing, clearing, and for a return of energy. And that's setting intentions. The one intention I love setting is saying what would it take before the intention, which I learned from Samantha Rodriguez. She's amazing, and it's something I do, which is the what would it take. So before I go to bed, I go, what would it take for me to get all my energy back so I wake up completely rested and fully energized in the morning? What would it take for me to command my sleep space to be able to clear, to transmute, and to be able to realign with my highest ideal and my highest purpose? And when I say what would it take, it doesn't mean that you're supposed to answer the question. It's just that sometimes when I say, so if I don't really believe in affirmation, so like if I'm setting an intention and I'm saying, okay, I command my energy back. If I don't fully believe that my energy is going to return to me, it probably won't. And so adding the what would it take is now keeping it open-ended, and there's a belief that it could potentially happen, and it helps to strengthen that belief. So for me, I do the what would it takes, and then I let it happen, and then I'm like, whoa, I'm amazed. And then all of a sudden, the law of attraction is working easier and easier and easier, because I've now tried something. There's been a tangible evidence of that occurring, and then, boom, ends up popping in my reality. So let me bring it back, Corey. You're getting a little off topic going to law of attraction. Just a reminder. Another way to, while we are playing out these traumas of other individuals or the world traumas, is affirmations. So for me, I get out a pen and paper. And I always have a notebook on me. I always have a pen, and I write out my affirmations. I am safe. I am supported. I am loved. I'm divinely guided. And I write it out. I focus completely on writing out on a front and back page. And when I'm done, I throw it away. Or write them out until you feel better. That's another thing too, is it's a beautiful medication that, and a beautiful self-care ritual that can really help to completely shift. Is that, if we are of the belief, and I'm saying if because not everyone aligns with this belief, but I do, is that if my external reality is a reflection of my internal condition, I don't like something in my external reality, stop trying to change the external, change the internal. And a lot of that has to do with affirmations and the beliefs that I hold on to, that are these trauma cycles that I will end up back in because I have a certain mindset, or because I am actively participating in a situation and I'm not mindfully observing. And so that's where taking the step back and being the observer and not the actor in the play is key. And just kind of getting and aligning with that flow state where you don't have an emotional reaction to something that goes on around you. Because I noticed that there are people that I'd pick up their residue. I'd pick up their emotional residue of stuff that they went through or stuff I saw in the world. I would slip into a fear based. I would knock down in vibration, and then it would start to be created into my reality. Not like that same exact trauma happened to me, but I saw it start to play out, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna get bad," and then I stopped it from occurring. And all that was with belief and with intention, and with having a positive mindset of what's going on. And the affirmations thing is that's been the key thing, because you know it's nice when another individual comes up and says, you know what, you're safe, you're supported, you're loved. I have some beautiful people in my life that have said those things to me, and it's turned into a belief where I started to notice it change my reality. But when you can do that for yourself, there's so much more power you have over, you recognize how much power you have and how much your thoughts are what is going to change where you live. And I mean, as far as what reality you're living in, what timeline, and how we collapse these timelines. And that's why, I choose to shut off media. And there's a, there's a level of me where I hear things going on in the world. And, I kind of feel like I'm bad for not being aware of what's going on 100%, because I just have to shut it off, not only for my own good, but I do it too for the collective. Because the less people we have tied into emotional reaction with that stuff, the more it's going to help the collective. And this is another part of this vicarious and secondhand trauma, is that if we take it on and we clear it, we're not just, there's such a divine orchestration with this that we have to recognize that we're clearing that for the collective. And when we're clearing that for an individual and we take it on and we clear it as well, we're now amplifying that healing process. So if you end up taking something on into your field, or taking on someone's energy or someone's emotion and things like that, don't judge it, because you signed up to help with this process, which means that a lot of the time we're going to be clearing things not only for ourselves but for the collective. And that's why I choose to shut off the media, is because if we have every individual in the collective watching that media, it's going to keep us trapped in that paradigm. And I recognize that when I shut off the media and I stopped paying attention to that stuff, I'm helping to rise above it, which is helping to bring the collective up in energy as well. So, and it's something that every empath deals with, is finding our power and stepping out of the martyrdom role. I've never once met an empath where they came in completely in their power and stood firm in their power. A lot of empaths, no, let me say, every empath I have met started out freely giving, freely healing, and freely letting people take from us, the martyr, to our own detriment. And that is not the role we play anymore, because we can have active compassion, active understanding, and active empathy for another individual without taking on their stuff. And so when you feel that weight come on and you're starting to wonder, is this mine? Because when things enter our field, there are thoughts that are going to pop up and stuff like that are going to be a close match of where we could be at in our subconscious, that it sounds like us and it feels like us and it tastes like us, whatever, any of our senses that actively engage in that energy. It is us, because it's a part of us. It's in our field. So you can ask yourself, just tune in, call your higher self down. Call your higher self down and go, is this mine? And then wait for a response. Whatever response you get, trust it. Trust your intuition always. And if it's not yours, there are some action steps you can take towards clearing. Now, these are some general guidelines of things that I do to clear my field. There are many other things you can do. There are candle things you can do. There's many other tools and techniques you can use, and I highly suggest that you start to research. So hopefully this video is a trigger towards you starting to dive into what you can do to clear your field. If none of these answers resonate with you, or you try them and they don't work, find what works for you. It's different for every individual. And this is what's so cool about the spiritual tools in our spiritual toolkit, is that we cater this toolbox to ourselves. There are general guidelines that are put in front of us by other light workers, information that's been out there for generations, eons, especially those that have been in the energy healing modality for a very long time. But it's an individual process. So you get to do this your way. And so experiment and try it, and whatever feels right, go with it, and let it evolve and expand. Because that's what happens, is as we start to grow and to evolve and expand as empaths, and learn how to not take on energy, clear our energy, command our space, things like that, we start to, it starts, this suit gets tailor fitted to us, and we feel more comfortable in our suit. Because, like, if you get a secondhand suit from somebody and you try it on, it doesn't feel right, you keep trying on suits until you like the one that fits you, or you tailor that first suit to fit your needs the best. So start to do, experiment, have fun with it, turn this into a little passion project. This is what I've done recently with Samantha, is we've been fine-tuning our tools. We've been figuring out how to command our energy, how to fine-tune everything, how to hone in on it. And it's fun. It's like teaching a dog, how to sit. It's a training game of our energy. And do what's ever best for you. And recognize that you don't have to take on this stuff anymore. This energy, if you do take it on, you're transmuting for another individual, or you're clearing for the collective, or whatever. That's one thing. But the whole part about being a sovereign being, a sovereign spiritual being, is that you have a choice to take it on or to not take it on. And there are things that I've taken on I didn't know I took on until a few days down the line, when I had all this energy attached to me, and then I cleared it. And I also do a lot of transmuting for the collective, which don't step into unless it's a part of your role, and you're going to figure out it's a part of your role, and it's not fun, but you're going to learn how to prepare for it. All of us, when you're transmuting and healing for yourself, you're transmuting and healing for the collective. But take your power back. You have a choice to let this stuff into your field or not. And don't think about it too much, because my intellect will try to distort it and make it really difficult. It's very simple. Just command it. I command clearing. Guess what? You just commanded clearing by saying that. It's all about your intention. So that's it, guys. Much love and respect to everybody out in the webverse. Hope you're having a great new moon. I'm going to set some intentions tonight for some beautiful things I want to come about in my life. We are living in such a wonderful world right now, and this unity consciousness is amazing. And these upgrades that are going on are beautiful. The energies have been coming in. I got hit with a wave earlier where that almost buckled me to my knees, and I started to feel like I was going to vomit, but I had to get on the bus, and I was all lightheaded, and I ran into my roommate on the bus, and I'm sitting there I have to carry a conversation and not look like I'm about to, just spew everywhere. So hold on, free to your life. It's fun. It's a joyous roller coaster, at least at this point now. I feel like not only collectively, but myself, I'm out of the water and I'm in the life raft, and I'm on the way to the island, and it's a beautiful feeling. So keep up the good work, guys. Love all you guys. I ended up getting my appointed calendar up and running, so that is up. Reiki sessions are up. I've got our Reiki sessions. I've also got our coaching sessions, and I have a link for the donation Reiki. So I'm still doing donation Reiki to get a plane ticket to go out and to see my partner, my girlfriend. And so far, I'm almost halfway there after one video. So thank you guys, everyone, to your donations. I'll be shooting you an email to see what I could do as a gratitude exchange for helping out like that. Unless I already did help you out, and that's why you donated, thank you. But if there's anything I could do as a gratitude exchange, if you don't want Reiki, let me know. I really do appreciate all the love and support. It feels great to be back, and got an overwhelming nice response from everyone yesterday. And I also wanted to thank the Higher Self channel. Without Dawn and all the hard work that her and her team puts in, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. She posted my first video up on Higher Self with a pure leap of faith, and it brought about this rapid transformation and change, and meeting so many beautiful people that I've fallen in and out of resonance with, in and out of alignment with, and I have such a beautiful life today as a result of me putting my message there, and the support that Dawn and her team at Higher Self did. And if you haven't, go to higherselfportal.com. There's a great community on there. I'm actually working on trying to come up with some ideas with building a group because there are groups available on there. It's kind of like a social media platform to build a group. That'll be fun and exciting. I'm actually in the midst of working with Samantha right now with that, with trying to figure out what we're going to do on that. But go support her channel. If you're seeing this on Higher Self, cruise over, click subscribe, shoot me an email, say hello. And if you guys want Reiki, my appointed calendar and everything is listed in the description box. And I look forward to stepping more back into this role and working with you people, especially the divine masculines that are waking up and are learning how to be and embody the divine masculine, and not the masculine, but the divine masculine. Which there's two different things, and I'm still learning what it is to be a divine masculine as I understand that in my own time, and to hold those doors open for people to come over to the other side safely, as quickly and painlessly as possible, with an easy transformation, and easy enough activations on the body where you can get through it without going into severe crisis or severe detriment to yourself, because these energies are very potent and powerful, but they're also they're very forgiving too. So let's put it that way. So anyways, much love and respect to everybody on the Webiverse. That's all I got. I'll see you guys on the other side. Namaste.